We don't hear about the American dream anymore, do we? It's almost a bad thing. It's almost evil if you become successful in America today.
Frank VanderSloot is the CEO of Idaho-based Melaleuca. His life changed forever on April 20th. That's the date that President Obama's campaign included his name and 7 others on an enemies list. Frank's crime? He donated to a super PAC supporting Mitt Romney. Frank joins us at the Heritage Foundation to talk about the backlash for him personally and his company. Frank, thanks for being here.
Thank you, Rob. Good to be here.
What was your reaction when you found out that you had been named to this list?
First, it scared me. I thought, this is probably not good news for the president to be saying I'm really a bad guy. People are going to believe that. Then I argued with, what do you mean, less than reputable? I always thought I enjoyed a really, really good reputation, so there was that issue. And then I thought, what do you do now? Because I thought, something's going to happen here, and sure enough, it did.
How did it feel to be attacked by the sitting president of the United States?
It's an interesting concept, isn't it, where he's saying that his own citizens are basically his enemy, which you wonder, does that tie to, am I an enemy to the United States of America? Since, I mean, you start asking yourself those questions and whether you're worthy of that kind of attention and those kinds of accusations. But it's scary to say the least. To have your president saying that you're a bad guy. I didn't vote for President Obama, but I wrote several things after I campaigned heavily, for his opposition. When he became elected, I said, he's my president, I'm going to honor him, I'm going to support him, I'm going to back him. That's how I feel. He's my president. I want him to be successful. I want him to surround himself with good, bright people that'll make good decisions, and to hear that he thinks I'm his enemy, that wasn't good news to me.
Tell me about the backlash that you've experienced.
Well, at first there was blowback. I mean, for 2 weeks, we after the list came out, we suffered a living hell. I mean, people calling in, canceling. They didn't want to be affiliated with a company who's led by a bad guy. Then Kim Strassel with the Wall Street Journal did an article. We had some people here at the Heritage Foundation that did some pointing out that no president's ever done this before. Make a list of people that, because they donated, and the other 7 folks on the list, I read their backgrounds, they look like pretty good people to me. None of them have ever committed a crime. Their only crime was to support Romney for president.
Why have you decided to speak out?
Well, I've kind of looked at things and said, what should I do now? I certainly can't run for cover. I can't let that kind of tactic be successful in America.
What are the values that you learned growing up in rural Idaho that have helped you succeed in America?
My father was an honest man. I never heard him exaggerate. I never, ever heard or saw him say something that wasn't truthful. He didn't sit there and lecture me on the values of honesty. He just lived it. He wasn't a lecturer. He just set an example for me. He valued hard work. He said, hold a man's hand. Feel if he's got calluses on his hand, because if you got a man that's a working man, he's a good man. And I believe that. I believe that then. I believe that now. I believe in hard work. We were poor. My dad made $300 a month on the railroad. He left Monday morning, didn't come home till Friday night. My job was to milk the cows every night and every morning. It was hard work, but good principles. And I'm glad he taught me those things, because it made all the difference for me when I hit the business world. Work hard and value people who do.
What has the free enterprise system meant for you?
Well, isn't it interesting that everybody's forgotten, not everybody, but there are certain elements of this country and certainly of the administration that have forgotten what made America great. It was free enterprise, this whole experience and freedom, and exercising that freedom to build companies and to go after American dream and to create jobs, and yes, to create a revenue base for taxes. I mean, that's what made America great. That's why we became the most prosperous country in the universe. Isn't it interesting? We've lost sight of that. Now business are the bad guys. They're the enemy. How are you going to create jobs if you make business people the enemy? The government can't hire everybody. If people want to reach the American dream, we don't hear about the American dream anymore, do we? It's almost a bad thing. It's almost evil if you become successful in America today. I'm an advocate of free enterprise. It's blessed me. It's blessed my family. I think for people to get out, a system where people can get out and work hard and do an honest day's work for an honest day's pay, that ought to be respected. But the whole principle of people getting out there and producing jobs for folks, we ought to go back to knowing that's a good thing as opposed to believing it's not.